Games set in space are often about survival, either through fighting cosmic abominations or other rival factions, but Ambrosia Sky is completely different. It's about cleaning and mourning the dead, all while piecing together what actually went wrong. This is a game made by Softbrains, a small Toronto-based indie game studio, a studio that has veteran developers from games such as Skyrim, Fallout 4, Watch Dogs, Left 4 Dead, and Valorant. And they are also the sponsor of today's video, as they've invited me to check out their game, Ambrosia Sky Act 1. This is a game that takes place on an abandoned asteroid colony near Saturn, with a deep focus on environmental interaction. And rather than shooting aliens with space guns, the game asks you to do something that I haven't really seen any other sci-fi game ever do. It wants the player to clean. Yes, I'm serious. I've seen some people saying this is like Power Wash Simulator if it had a narrative focus, but there is a little bit more to it than that. This being said, the game does have a tremendous focus on cleaning space fungus. In this game, you take the role of a woman named Dahlia, who is essentially like a space mortician, or as they call it in the game, a scarab. And she's tasked with cleaning up a devastating fungal outbreak and retrieving biosamples from the dead. I found it really interesting for the genre for you to play something closer to that of a scientist rather than something like a space soldier. Though don't get me wrong, I have nothing against those. But the choice to not do something like that is what ultimately makes this game interesting. 15 years before the events of this game, Dahlia left the asteroid colony known as the Cluster, walking away from people that she grew up with and the fungal research community that she once belonged to. And when she returns, it's with a strange and disturbing mission: to clean up the outbreak and gather samples. This puts Dahlia in a weird position because she's going back to rooms and places that she once inhabited, gathering the bodies of people that she once loved, and reflecting on a life that she used to live. Imagine you leave your home and then you have to come back to it and see that many of the people that you were friends with, people that you knew and loved, and now you're cleaning up the aftermath of the cosmic horror that killed them, all while attempting to resolve your perhaps now unresolvable feelings about them. Throughout this game, you won't find any type of grand exposition. It's all delivered through subtle narration, terminal notes, and Dahlia's own internal monologue. She can't really speak to these people. She can only speak to herself and her residual feelings about them. And when she finds them, she oftentimes has to perform a funeral-like ritual, saying goodbye to them and giving whatever kind of closure she can to that person and their relationship. The game doesn't just push against sci-fi expectations in terms of its story, it also does so in terms of its visuals. In a lot of space games, you might see a ton of gray metal corridors or minimalist white labs, but here, they decided to go all out with the colors. Everywhere you look, it is rich with the use of colors. The fungus that consumes the station is probably a lot more beautiful than it should be. Stylistically, it has almost like a comic book-like cell shading to it. The lighting is also something that's really well done in this game. It can be really bright and exciting at times, while also having this vibe of being eerie and unsettling. It's also accompanied by some relatively good audio design that makes it all feel immersive. When the fungus is covered in electricity, it looks and feels like it is. Now, as I mentioned previously, your primary objective in this game is to clean. You have what looks like a gun, but really you're wielding a sprayer. This is a multi-purpose tool that allows you to spray in different ways in order to clean the fungus how you see fit. And of course, as you progress, you unlock new chemical agents derived from the fungi themselves. So the game is constantly offering you different fun ways in order to clean the fungus up. There really isn't much of what you would call combat in this game. That doesn't mean that there isn't any threat, however, as the environments themselves are loaded with danger. Each fungal strain may behave differently, some might explode, some might shock you, and it's really more about this light puzzle solving than anything else, as well as exploring the environment to figure out what the next best course of action is. Which is all to say that this game has a huge focus on environmental problem solving. One of the standout systems in the game is its approach to zero gravity traversal. Certain sections of the colony are gravity deprived or exposed to the vacuum, or the thing that simulates gravity is switched off. In these areas, movement shifts and allows you to float around in full 3D space. This introduces my absolute favorite mechanic in the entire your game, the grappling tether. If you're a big fan of hook shots in video games, then you will also love the tether, I promise. The tether is what allows you to masterfully traverse these zero gravity zones. If you need to reach a vent or the ceiling several feet above you, you can grapple to it. In fact, you can grapple onto pretty much anything in the environment and pull yourself to it. And this isn't just in the zero gravity zones either. You can pretty much use the grapple hook anywhere in the game. But not only that, objects that are lighter than Dahlia are able to be picked up and thrown around. This means that you can move debris out of the air and throw things around, and this is incredibly fun to do. Again, this makes movement in the game feel so satisfying. Of course, even in regular gravity zones, you can still use the grapple in order to traverse the environment and move around how you see fit. As you harvest different things from the fungus themselves, you're able to use them to craft upgrades. This is presented a lot like a skill tree, and it isn't very grindy at all. In fact, at the end of each mission, you'll usually have something that you can upgrade, giving the game a satisfying sense of steady progress. Each area of the colony can be revisited with new upgrades and allow you to open up brand new optional paths. The design encourages curiosity, so blocked corridors or unpowered doors that seem inaccessible early on then become opportunities for return visits. Some missions are time-based and some are linear, and others are a bit more open-ended, giving you a reason to go back and check previous missions for new objectives. But beyond the mechanics, Ambrosia Sky is driven by the atmosphere and tone. Though the game is visually very vivid and bright, it also has this constant morbidity hanging over you. You find the remains of the people who once lived here, many of whom are people that Dahlia knew personally, and there is a tremendous focus on her grief and her guilt and how she processes everything that has happened here. If you enjoy the type of narratives where everything isn't spelled out for you and you have to do a lot of piecing together based on what different journal entries say and connecting this story for yourself with a true sense of discovery, then I really think that this is a story that is going to connect for you. So let's go ahead and just walk through a mission together, because I really do think that is the best way to get a feel for this game. So there's this mission here called Stargazer. It says recover the Stargazer's black box. We picked up a distress beacon from a nearby ship. There are no signs of life. Find the ship's black box. D, there might be valuable intel in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the mission. Okay, wow, okay. So this one is really quite different, because in the previous missions, we were kind of inside of the shuttle, and so even I'm fairly shocked to see this, like, we're out here in space. So wow, this is actually really cool. Again, like, this is like one of like Saturn's rings, and the game is just beautiful, right? Like, look how much, like, just all the colors that you can see. Now, normally you think of space games, right? You think of like, it's gonna be kind of dark, a little bit moody, but this is actually something that is just exploding with color in every single shot. As you look around, every single, you know, material, texture is just loaded with color, and it's a really beautiful game to look at. And of course, every mission that you do, it kind of starts out with these messages here. This one is from Maz. Stranded ship nearby. I isolated a nearby SOS beacon. It's coming from a stranded ship, the Stargazer. Do you know it? Fairly large. No signs of life, D. And scans indicate heavy contamination. The Scarabs want you to find the ship's black box. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure why, but the orders are insistent. Find the black box. I've done some really neat tech things, letting me place a sound on the black box, amplifying its beacon. If you make me hear about the gross body things, I'll make you listen to me technobabble about it. So again, this is like one of the more zero gravity areas, and you know, this is the fungus right here. So we can get up here.
It feels like grave robbing.
And again, a lot of just introspective delivery of the story, but you know, that's how we clean the fungus, right? It's really cool. And so this is like the grappling hook tether mechanic that they call it. And it's really cool because whenever you're in areas like this with zero gravity, you can always use the tether, and it allows you to get closer to things. Now, I don't think we're close enough than anything other than this fungus here, which I don't want to just pull us into. However, you can always use that. You know what? Actually, let me see. Is there anything? I can also grab onto things. So that's how you grab onto things, and then you could just shoot them back out. So you can grab onto this, and you can actually use it and even break some of the fungus off. And the physics are just really fun to play with. And oops, you can grab these. I grabbed onto the ship.
What you might say. You're worried about me. I don't know. Maybe I am losing it a bit.
Nice. And so as you see, I was able to take that thing, like a vial type thing, and almost works like a grenade against the fungus and just blows it straight up, right? So other than that, you have different nozzles. So you can use this one right here that sends it out in a vertical way, or you can change it that sends out in a more horizontal way. You can also use this, which you have different types of, like, I think it's like different types of chemicals that you can load the gun with, and then this one is much more effective at just melting the fungus away. But you know, we have like a limited supply of this. Now you can upgrade it through crafting, and you'll want to do that because this stuff just allows you to absolutely just melt it away. Super high powered stuff. But again, each mission, you only have like a finite amount of it, so you probably don't want to just use it all willy-nilly. We also have this too, which is basically like, you know, this like is like flammable. Like it like lets you like just melt it all away, right? And for me, you know, this game is just super relaxing to play. You know, it's one of those games where you're tired from work and you want to play something that feels engaging, but you know, you don't have to worry about combat and not having the same sort of stress that you would when playing, you know, a sort of high octane action game. You're able to just go through this, learn about the story, see this incredibly beautiful, I was gonna say world, but it's more like galaxy, I guess, outer space. And yeah, Saturn also looks incredibly gorgeous here. Again, it's just big for me that, you know, for a space game, that there is this much use of color, because again, you kind of think about just like the dark void of space normally when you think about like most of these types of games that are set in space and more sci-fi. But you know, really what's cool about this is just, yeah, lots of again, lots of you know, types of introspective storytelling. And again, what you just saw there was like the shock warning. So if you get too close to the fungus here, then it can shock you. So it's not to say that there is no hazards in this game. It's just that the hazards are more like environmental hazards rather than enemies shooting you or anything like that. As you can see, you know, there's no like enemies attacking me or anything like that. It's just me and the fungus and my really sick tether, which lets me grapple onto things like this, and you know, just lets you move around in 3D space. And this is ultimately what allows the movement in this game to just feel so satisfying, you know? Let's read this one right here. Error to 82, cascading failure due to sensor opacity, clean optics. Okay, so you have to find the optics and clean them. And again, you can always grab objects in the environment like this and just toss them, and they could do really great things for blowing up. Oh, it's gone. It's so gone. It's so gone. It's not coming back. I was gonna try to grab it again. It's not coming back. But it all feels like it is building up to something even bigger. As the title of the game suggests, this is Ambrosia Sky Act 1, which implies that a lot more is on the way, meaning that by getting invested in this first part, you have a lot to look forward to in the long term. If your type of game is something heavy in atmosphere, emotion, and just a little weird, Ambrosia Sky Act 1 is absolutely going to be for you. And it's available right now on PC free via Steam and Epic Games. Check the link in the description or pinned comment to learn more about the game, download it, or you can also try the free demo as well. A big thanks to SoftRains for sponsoring this video and making a game that is so unusual. I'll be keeping my eye out for Act 2, and you should as well.